If you're anything like me, you've got some laundry around the house, so we are gonna be folding it together and I have my husband's underwear, of course, but we are going to be folding laundry together and chit chat. It's gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna be talking to you guys today about some of the encounters I've had with thieves or our family, so it should be a pretty good topic. Press pause and grab your load. Lovelies, it's Drea with Clueless Mama D. I do mummy lifestyle with laughs, and you guys did a poll for me and you said you wanted to see more of my cleaning and declutter as well as my thrifting. So those things are going to be coming, but if you're already a subscriber here, you know that I love to chat. So I really wanted to start doing laundry chit chats where we could fold laundry together. And if you guys look, I am folding the KonMari way. If you guys didn't check my declutter video, we are doing the whole house in KonMari, so we still have lots of rooms to do, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But yeah, so we're gonna be folding laundry and I'm gonna be talking to you guys about some crazy stories I have with thieves. So it's like a story time slash laundry let's fold together. So make sure you subscribe if that sounds interesting. I'm gonna tell you guys basically about my first experience with getting ripped off, and then also some of the thieves that I encountered in working in retail. So I think I might have shared this in a story time before, but I have a lot of new subscribers since then. So you probably haven't heard it, and if you have, I love you for still being around. Make sure you let me know in the comments. But basically what had happened is I worked at the mall. I think I was 18 years old, and I actually knew the guy who scammed me. So he, what had happened is he was working with actually one of my friends in a shoe store, and we kind of all knew who worked in the retail, you know, like we nod heads and stuff when we saw them on break. So when I saw him, I didn't realize that he had actually been fired from the store, and I was at the bus stop with him, and he had this like baby too, which I didn't know he had the baby. Like the only thing I knew was his name and where he worked, right? So anyways, he started telling me this sob story about how he was gonna get kicked out of his house and he didn't know where he was gonna go, and he showed me like a pay stub. And again, I'm 18 and young, and he was basically like, yeah, they won't even wait for my pay stub to clear because there's a hold for 4 days. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just so sad, so sad. And then he basically was like, hey, I know, why don't you cash my check? And then he's like, do you have a hold on your account? And I was like, no. And then he's like, why don't you cash my check? And then I'll give you 40 bucks out of my money, and then I'll be able to give them the money right away. So this is one of those go with your instinct, guys, because honestly, like something didn't feel quite right. But at the same time, I was like, okay, this is like a really sad story. I can totally help him, and you know, and I make 40 bucks, right? So I decided to call my other friend who had worked at a bank one time, or at that time, and I just wanted to know if it was possible for someone to sign a check over to you. What I should have done was tell him the whole story. Instead, I just said like, can someone sign their check over to you? And he's thinking I'm talking family or something, so he's like, yeah, that's no problem. So I don't go to the bus, like on the bus that I was waiting. I literally walk to the bank with this dude. And again, like if I hadn't known him through the mall, like this never would have happened. Like I wouldn't have just gone with some random person, but he had worked in the mall for like a couple of years, and I thought he still worked there, like with one of my friends. So that's obviously what made me trust him a little bit more. So then when we got to the bus stop, or sorry, when we got to the bank, the other red flag, as if this wasn't already a red flag enough, is that he did not come into the bank with me to get the money. Now, I, being dumb and naive, was like, oh, okay, that's nice. He doesn't want to freak me out as I'm, you know, doing my PIN. But really, he just didn't want to be on camera. But anyways, he totally just scammed me. I took out, I think it was like $450, like, or something like that when I was, you know, 18 years old. That's a lot of money from my bank account. And I gave him, let's say it was $450 for his check, and I gave him $410 or whatever. I don't remember the exact amount, but basically I kept 40, but it really was all my money. And then he was like, oh, do you want me to walk you back to the bus stop? And I was like, okay, that's weird because you were already at the bus stop. But I was like, no, that's okay. And then he asked me for my phone number, like hitting on me. And thank God I had a boyfriend at the time, like, cause he wasn't even bad looking, but I had a boyfriend. So I was like, no, I have a boyfriend. But like, can you imagine if I was single and I gave him my number after he just scammed me? Like, I don't even know why he asked me for my number. Like, I think that's even more evil. Like, you rip me off and then you try to like flirt and get my number. And then if I gave you my number, obviously you weren't gonna call me. And it's like, you would just be like, yeah, she gave me my number. So yeah, so I didn't give him my number, thank God. But yeah, so right after that happened, guys, I was like, I think I got scammed. And I called back the same friend and I told him the situation, and he's like, what? You didn't tell me that like it was someone you barely know, like you never should have done that, and blah, 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 blah. And so basically what the banks do when you do get scammed like that is they just take the money from your account. So I just lost that money. And then I went to the store, obviously, see if he worked there, and they were like, no, he got fired. And I found out he got fired for stealing. Go figure. So yeah, that was the worst time that I got scammed. Comment below and just let me know if you guys have been scammed. I want to hear your stories and how it helps everybody learn, because there's so many scammers out there now. Like, I did a video about like scammers on YouTube, like with giveaways and stuff. Like, they pretend to be the YouTube winner, guys. So even though they're not the winner, they pretend they are. They make fake social media accounts to look like the winner name. It's ridiculous. It's really out of control. So that was the worst that I got scammed, but I actually have quite a few more shoplifting stories. So one of the things, like, I'm an optician by trade, and so I've been in the optical field even before I was an optician. I worked at an optical, like when I was right after, yeah, like 18, like the same age that I mentioned before. Oh my gosh, look at that. There's a big hole in my husband's work shirt, so that's gonna be garbage. But they actually steal glasses, and even if you leave your glasses in your car, they'll steal that too, like your prescription glasses, which is like a real bummer because those things cost a lot of money. They're not. We'd always get thieves, and like when we were really busy, they wait till you're busy, and when you're in the mall, they just kind of wait outside and watch you, and then as soon as everybody's with someone, then they would come in. And when I say they, it's usually one person, and they would have the same like characteristics that were red flags. Like, they would go straight to the sunglass section. Normally, when someone comes in to, you know, what did I do wrong here? I'm learning this KonMari stuff, guys. I'm learning it, and I'm not sure what I just did wrong with the pants, but it didn't stand up. Voila! It looks pretty bad, but they would beeline to the sunglasses, which is a red flag, because normally when you walk into the optical store, you like stop and look around at your surroundings, like where's the men's section, where's the women. But the thieves, they already have cased the place, so they know, like, I'm going straight for the goods, whatever they can sell the most or whatever they want the most, which is usually sunglasses. And then, you know what they have the nerve to do? Like, pretty much every thief, like, if you get on them, like, if sometimes they have characteristics like that, and then you're like, okay, hi, how can I help you? They're always like, you guys don't have anything nice, your guys' glasses suck here. Like, always they would insult. And then it's like, they would storm out, and it's like, are you kidding me? Like, you come here to steal and then you insult the store. Like, why? Why? One time I was just like so annoyed with this guy that was always stealing. And he would come in and take some frames, but we would never catch him because he would just always come when it was super busy. And then finally I was helping this lady and she's like talking to me full speed about, you know, glasses or whatever in her questions. And then finally I said to her, I'm sorry, I'm not listening to you, but I'm just keeping an eye on that guy. And you know what she says to me? She's like, well, I saw him take 2 frames. okay, why are you still asking me questions about your prescription then? Why didn't you say anything? Like, that's like the most confusing thing about me. Like, she saw it and she just distracted me more. So when she said that, then I was like, I had enough. And he actually left at that very time. And I'm like, you know what? Enough is enough. So I went out after him, which, okay, guys, I was like 0 pounds. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, but he was a very small man. He was smaller than me too. And he looked like an addict, didn't look too healthy, but still, you don't run after a thief, especially you're working at retail or anywhere you're working. It's just not worth it, right? Even the companies don't want you doing this, right? So, but I just like, something came over me and I was like, enough is enough. And it happened to be Christmas time in the mall. So I go out and I'm like, give me back my frames. And then he's like, I didn't take anything, I didn't take anything. And like, so many people are looking and I'm like, yes, you did, give it back right now. And I'm screaming. And I don't know why he didn't just run from me, but that's what I mean, like it being dangerous, because he could just like, I don't know, cut me, punch me, whatever. But anyway, he actually went into his jacket and took out one of the sunglasses. And then because the lady had said 2, then I was like, you have more, give them to me more, give them all. And then he just took out some and he threw them on the ground and he ran off and he never came back again. So basically I'm a superhero. Moral of the story. But okay guys, it goes on. I really am a superhero when it comes to theft, because there's more. There's a few more stories, guys. I should have like a badge on this. Beside that clinic that I worked at in the mall, there was like a licenza. And so one time when I was walking back from my break, or like I had my lunch and I was taking it back to work, I go and again, it's like the characteristics, the signs of the thief. And there's just this woman there in the store, like in front of the bras. And like, it's just her posture. So instead of looking at the bras and the things around her, she's like staring at the workers. Like, she's more concerned about where they are. So that was like my red flag. So I hid on the outside of the store, like, you know, where you look through and there's the mannequins and stuff. I like hid by the mannequins and just started watching her. And sure enough, she just opens up her bag and starts like shoveling like bra after bra after bra in her bag. And I'm like, oh. So I beeline into the store and I'm like, hey, that lady's stealing. She's stealing over there. And they're like, what? And so I told them. But I don't know if it's like this, like at the malls where you guys live. But in our mall, there's like this policy that it's like, or I don't know if it's the mall or the law or whatever, but basically if you don't see it yourself, you can't do anything about it. But then they came to the store like after and they're like, oh my gosh, we checked the cameras and she had taken so many bras. And they're like, and you came out of nowhere, like you just like appeared, you weren't even in the store. And they'd be like, phew. And I'm like, yes, I know. No, I was like, yeah, I was watching outside like a creeper. More recently, guys, I was so annoyed because we were at, it's a grocery store, it's an Asian grocery store called T&T Supermarket. And we were at the supermarket and same thing, I just see some weird body language which makes me watch somebody for a little bit. And sure enough, there's like this lady and she must have been like 60 years old. And she is just shoveling, like she's bent down, you know, like at the cash register. She's bent down at the cash register and she is like shoveling candy into her bag, like just one after the other. And this was like last month. So I'm like, I'm out of practice because my superhero skills are over now. So I'm like, and my husband's there and I'm like, honey, look. And he's like, oh my gosh. And we're both like, we don't know what to do. So finally I'm like, oh, okay. So I go to the till over, which is literally right where she is. And I tell the worker there and I'm like, hey, the lady's stealing there. But there was such a language barrier there. Like she could not understand what I was saying. And I'm like, she's stealing right behind you. And she's looking at me like. So by the time she realized what was going on, that lady, the theft, had actually gone already. And I don't know why it just annoyed me so much. Like it just annoyed me. And then my husband's like, well, you know, maybe she needed it. I'm like, it was chocolate bars, honey. Chocolate bars. Okay, like ain't nobody. And you know what? We have shelters here. There is no excuse to be stealing candy at age 65, other than boredom, I guess. I don't know. But guys, it was like my chance was redeemed, no joke, like 4 days later. So 4 days later, I'm at my work and I'm on break. And so I go over to a different grocery store, which is called IGA in Canada. And same thing, I'm like in the chip aisle, or chip and pop aisle or whatever. And I see this weird body language. Like this dude is just like, he's almost sitting on the ground, right? And he's got his backpack open and I see him put stuff in it. So now I am on point. Now I am like, not like fidgeting around, oh my God. I am like beelining it. I go smoothly, I pretend like I didn't even notice anything. I go smoothly to the other corner, or the other aisle. It just so happens there's a lady stocking stuff, so perfect. I go right up to her. I'm like, there's a man in the aisle stealing. He's putting things in his backpack, and I saw it. This worker was on point, you guys. Like, she was on point. Like, she went right over, because you know I had to go over and watch. So she went right over to him and right up to him, and she was like, sir, can I help you? And then he was like, it was so funny, guys. He was like, no, I'm fine. And like, she caught him like red-handed putting stuff in there. And then she's like, can I help you with purchasing the stuff in your backpack? And then he's like, you guys, it was funny, man. He was like, I was just putting in there because I didn't have a cart. And then she's like, okay, well, can I help you like find anything else? And then we'll go to the till. And then he's like, you know what? So he starts going in his backpack. He's like, I don't really need this, and I don't really want that, and I'm a diabetic, so I shouldn't even have pop. No joke, he said that, guys. All of a sudden, he's diabetic, and he's like taking like a million things out of his backpack, and then he kept one thing, and I'm trying not to like stare too much, like I'm fake buying chips. I don't even like chips, but so I'm like listening, and then he kept one thing. I didn't even get to see what it was, but he said, oh, I guess I'll get this. And so he walked to the till with her and bought that. And I was like, yes, I was redeemed. But yeah, basically, I don't want to bore you guys, because then you'll click off and ruin my statistics on YouTube and nobody will ever see me again. I just want to know, did you guys like the chit chat? Do you want to see another one, or do you guys just want to fold laundry in a time-lapse style and just watch me do it to music? And does that motivate you better? All right, that's it. I'm gonna finish and show you guys how I folded KonMari style. Make sure you guys check out these videos here and subscribe and hit the bell. And till the next video, love you lovelies.